You're watching the East West Football Network. This is Inside the Franchise. I got Walter Stringer, Fidel Barraza. Welcome, gentlemen. Man, it's
But
Thursday. We're literally maybe what 2 hours into deep into the draft next week at this
yeah,
point. So I mean, we're literally a week away. It's getting pretty exciting. I know the atmosphere is seeming to be a little bit more anxious to say the least. But I
yeah.
mean, let's finish off these teams, man. I mean, we dedicated to it, and man, I can't believe we went. We're already down in the bottom, the top 10 of the draft class. So let's look at it. I mean, we're talking about America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Denver Broncos, picking ninth and 10th, right next to each other. So let's not beat around the bush. Let's get right into it, man. The Cowboys, they finished 6 and 10. The NFC East is not it's not one of the best divisions at all in the NFL. Let's just be frank there. The Cowboys, they finished 14th overall in total offense, and they finished 23rd in total defense. Man, Mike McCarthy's first year with the Cowboys, it was certainly a very rough one to say the least. We've seen some changes already. He already changed defensive coordinators, bringing in Dan Quinn. Um, I mean, also let's talk about it. I mean, they didn't really have a very flashy free agency aside from, I mean, giving Dak his contract, right? His big time money contract that Dak deserves, right?
Right.
And then of course
Mhm.
they filled in some pieces here and there. They still got Keanu Neal. At one point, Keanu Neal was actually a top rated safety in the league. I know that injuries have kind of hindered him from there. They brought him in to be that safety hybrid linebacker, and
Yeah.
then they also went with Demonte Kazee, also a safety from formerly with the Falcons. Both them followed Dan Quinn with the Cowboys here. So, I mean, aside from that, I mean, the Cowboys are leaving it to the draft to build up this defense, and that defense seems to be what's holding them back from actually taking lead of this NFC East. What's your biggest takeaway, gentlemen? I mean, for 2020 season in a nutshell, if you can.
Uh, I'll start off. Dak
Okay.
Prescott's the most important piece of the Dallas Cowboys. We obviously saw that early in the season before he got hurt. He was the only reason why they were staying in games. Let's be honest here. So Zeke, struggling, a fumbling issue. Look, I mean, at one point in the season, I thought Mike McCarthy was going to lose his job. It was just going that bad, right? And then Andy Dalton gets hurt. He gets COVID-19, and then in goes
Yeah,
Danucci. Correct, Jerry?
yeah. Ben DiNucci,
Ben
Greg
DiNucci, we
Gilbert.
used to say it's not all Gucci with Ben DiNucci, right?
Yeah,
Because he had
yeah.
a horrible start. But I mean, a rough year definitely for Mike McCarthy. You kind of feel for him, Dak, with that horrible injury. But now he got his contract, and it looks like he's healing up pretty good.
Yeah. What do you think, Walt?
Okay, Jerry, this is your favorite team, right? So,
There we
before
go.
you
What's up, Gabe? The commish.
Puro
before
pinche
you
Cowboys.
before you jump completely into it, all right. So this is what I really took away from Dallas.
All right,
First
all
and
right. Let's hear
foremost,
it. Hold on. You got all South Texas looking at you right now, man.
okay,
Be
no
friendly.
Choose
problem.
your words
Listen,
wisely,
listen.
Walter.
Be
I'm not.
friendly.
I'm not going to say anything they haven't already probably heard on TV already. Listen.
Okay, okay. Give it a different spin though.
All right. So first of all, my thing is this: what is the Cowboys' identity offensively? Are
Ooh,
they going
good
to be a
questions.
run first team behind a veteran offensive line with a borderline elite running back? Are they going to be a spread you out, shotgun trips, bunch formation, throw it all over the field team with a bunch of number one wide receivers and not protect Dak? Or do they want to be a physical, aggressive football team? And then another thing I really don't understand about watching Dallas, and it starts, of course, from the top going all the way down to the coaches and the players, are they really a football team?
Mm.
Or are they just a collection of talent on the field? Just
Why you have
out
to do
there
that,
pretty
Walt?
much doing their own thing. They don't, when you watch them, even if you go back to the season before last when the Eagles Carson Wentz managed to drag that team to the playoffs, that Philadelphia Eagles team had character and it had soul behind it. And it had a bunch of injuries and they still managed to get there. That character is something that I just don't see out of the Dallas Cowboys, period.
Ooh. I mean, you know, it's
I mean,
like
you can
it's
keep.
like
I'm just saying, you can keep drafting all the high end, sexy talent you want. It really doesn't matter if you don't have any core at all. So,
you know, I thought we built this unique friendship. Well, you know, I feel like this knife is just in my back, man. I mean, for
well,
no
let's be honest. Who's the tone setter on that team?
right now, look, I mean, watching the frustrating season that we had, yes, you're absolutely right. The defense needs to be addressed, like you said. I mean, there's not really a real tone setter right now. I mean, man, I
I
mean,
mean, I like the Keanu Neal signing. I like Cassis too. I think they're two physical, aggressive players, and that's pretty much what that defense needed.
but look, to answer your question, I think that's why they brought in Dan Quinn because that's the type of defense that he's going to bring, right? And he's going to bring that real, you know, they tried doing this. Obviously, they were lost in last year's defensive scheme. I mean, they're coming back. I know they kind of flirted with the idea of going to this Tampa style, but never really fully committed. They were kind of in the middle. They were kind of lukewarm, so to say. But now you bring in Dan Quinn. Now you're saying, you know what? Let's go ahead. This is the identity on defense, and we're going to go this route. So, I mean, what we've seen so far, I mean, er- uh, from what we've been seeing this offseason is we've been seeing this debate going back and forth. If you know what happens if Kyle Pitts is there picking at 10, the Cowboys, you know what I mean? Knowing that you need to build this defense up. I mean, well, I mean, you got to take into equation. You got to take everything into equation. Despite you know maybe you need a particular position, you need to go ahead and make sure that you understand, like, okay, picking right behind me is the Giants and picking right behind them is the Eagles. If I don't pick up Cal Pitts, I'm giving them to one of my divisional opponents here. So you want to make it harder on yourself, then go ahead. But I think
Well,
but bringing in Dan Quinn, I think that he's going to set the tone the right way for that defense. And honestly, with the pieces they have in place in defense, we're going to see a totally different, comfortable defense, and we're going to see one of these players emerge as that tone setter in the defense. So go ahead and get yourself a Kyle Pitts.
So you would be okay with the Cowboys drafting Kyle Pitts?
I would, and let me explain for two reasons.
Mm,
Number one, Michael Gallup. I mean, we understand. I mean, Michael Gallup is an up and coming wide receiver. He's an up and coming wide receiver. I mean, we've seen him make some big time catches. We've seen him have some big time games. I don't know if we're going to be able to afford him next year.
he's gone, I think.
So yeah. So if you think about it, you kind of you go ahead and bring in a tight end like Cal Pitts, who you can flex. You can flex him out to be your wide receiver, but now you can kind of move to a 12-man front. See for you to have any success running the game, you need to see like last year. Everybody knew that Zeke was gonna get the ball. It was easy for defenses to tee off on the Cowboys. So it was easy to stop the run. You knew you're gonna get it to Zeke. So how do you stop that? You need to transition to a 12-man front. In other words, one running back, two tight ends. Why?
Hmm.
Because a two tight end package is gonna allow you to give more blocking lanes for your running backs to run, therefore giving you way more flexibility. And I understand people want to say Cal Pitts is not a blocking tight end, but we're not asking him to be a blocking tight end. We just need him to throw that pitch block, you know. And
Yeah.
so moving forward, you'll be able to transition to that 12-man front, and you're gonna put the pressure back on these defenses to stop you, and you'll be able to really stretch and allow Dak to continue to get better year in year out, and you'll have those key pieces locked in for the next 4 years with his contract.
And we know the X and the wide receiver position for the Cowboys is filled up. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb had a great year for the Cowboys last year.
He had a little over 900 yards receiving.
Yeah, and then Amari Cooper, we know what he brings to the table. If you guys play in Dallas on the road, kind of a different story for him for whatever reason. Also, you guys had a young receiver last year. I am looking for the name. Where are we at? Cedric Wilson. He had some great games as well.
Yeah,
So,
he's a big time. He was actually a standout for Boise State, actually,
yeah.
Cedric Wilson. So it was good to see him kind of, pick up where he left. Cowboys pick sends a message to the rest of the division on what they think their identity is. I think that's Clayton. You should have been here. We're going to be talking your Broncos.
come
Um,
on, join us, Clayton.
yeah, let me send him the invite.
Yeah, send him the invite so we
What's
can
it
talk
called?
Clayton.
but going back to it, what I think that what Clayton said right there, if yeah, I think when you look at that division overall, man, I mean, what do you do
But
at that point?
well,
Let me turn it over
yeah.
to you, Fidel. Should
So
should should Kyle Pitts is? I mean, they're already saying right now he's the number one,
yeah,
the best non-quarterback prospect in this year's
yeah.
draft.
Jerry, not that I have an issue with the Cowboys selecting Kyle Pitts, but I don't think he's going to be there. I think Atlanta's going to draft him there at the fourth pick, but they might trade down. I don't know. We know during the draft, there's a lot of trades that happen and whatnot. But for me, as far as the Cowboys' identity, I think it's going to be a passing offense. You pay Dak Prescott a lot of money, right? You have some great wide receivers. Zeke is kind of, I don't know. Maybe he's on the, I don't know what's going on with Zeke, but he's not playing the way he used to play, right? So,
Again, like I said, I mean, it's easy to tee off. I mean, you already know
yeah,
who you're gonna give the rock to. I mean, he still pushed out 900 and something yards rushing as well too. I know he had fumbles and whatnot. Hey man, it was a hard season overall, not only for the
yeah.
Cowboys but for almost every team, especially for the Broncos, who we're gonna be talking about next. So, where are you going with the 10 pick? I mean, it's a very nice pick to have right now in this year's draft.
Honestly, what position or what player is going to be there for them, right?
So
We know defensive back
let's look
is
let's
going to
look
be a need.
let's look at that. So cornerback, defensive line, linebacker. Obviously, the immediate address that the Cowboys need to address the defensive back.
Yeah.
There's no way to look at it. You have
And
Trevon Diggs.
yeah. And Jared, the first name that comes up to mind is Patrick Surtain, cornerback out of Alabama. That's the first name that comes to mind when you say cornerback, Cowboys. That's the name that comes. And we've seen a lot of rumors that Cowboys do like him, but we know the Cowboys. Last year we saw it with CeeDee Lamb. Once he fell, they're like Jerry Jones, like, hey, I got to draft this guy, right? So
All
we'll see what the
logic just
Cowboys
went
do.
completely out the window.
I think at one point, I think I'm not gonna, I'll tell you this. Last year, sitting down at the draft party, we were all saying that's it. Chase on, right? Clavion
Yeah,
Chase on is gonna be the pick. And then we started hearing what's his name from the Falcons, the cornerback. Oh my goodness, the first rounder from last year,
AJ Terrell.
AJ
yep,
Terrell. And then we started hearing Trevon Diggs. We're like, what is going on here? And then for some odd reason, you just start seeing CD just not getting picked where he was supposed to get picked. And then at the very end, there we go, Cowboys.
Guillermo.
So at the very end, you see CD. I was thinking, man, the Cowboy would be a fool if they don't pick CD Lamb. They have to. I mean, the Eagles are looking for a wide receiver, and I'll tell you this: seeing what CD did last year, I'm grateful that the Cowboys picked up CD Lamb. I'll tell you this much right now: it helps you be able to lose a luxury player like Michael Gallup.
Yeah, he's gone. I think after next year. I mean, you guys really don't need him.
It's hard,
No.
right? But it goes back to what Walt said. I mean, what do you want your identity to be? So, I mean, literally we're gonna see a week from today where the Cowboys are gonna start their tone or set the tone and set their identity and where they're gonna focus in. Well, you're the Cowboys GM. You're Will McClay. You're Stephen Jones. You're Jerry Jones. What do you do? Do you go sexy pick or do you go?
Well, you can still consider it a sexy pick. Personally, I would take J.C. Horn. I still think
Oh,
Horn is the best corner in the draft. I think when you look at what he brings to the table, he's big, physical, hands-on corner, aggressive, tone setter. Love his attitude, love the swag he's got with him, the confidence. I think he's made to be a Cowboy. And I
and I'll tell
think
you
he would be
this.
a solid fit in that secondary right along with Kaziz and Neal.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this much right now. You bring in J.C. Horn. That guy's gonna set the tone, and from there, all you gotta do is just
He's
add your
tough. He's a fighter.
safety. Yeah,
Yeah.
he is a feisty. So look, we have a question. How do you guys feel about the Raiders this year? Fidel, you weren't here for the Raiders special, so I'm gonna let you answer this one.
It brought a
No,
smile
well,
to his face.
they have to fix the offensive line, defensive backfield. They got a lot of issues that they need to fix. But obviously, he knows. He's just joking around. He's a Cowboy fan, so he likes to bag on the Raiders. So we'll see what happens next year when they play the Raiders. So
Yeah, and that's gonna be a real bragging right game right there.
yep.
So you asking me? You guys are going to have to tune into the podcast to tune in and hear who I believe the Cowboys are going to pick there. Let's move along, man. We got the Denver Broncos and we got Clayton Holford, man. Clayton, how you been? It's been a while.
It's been a minute, fellas.
Clayton's the Caesar Milano, the QB Whisperers. That's what I like to call Clayton.
I think at one point, was it Parker Hall who said the Rico of
Uncle Rico
of the East West. I had you up there with Patrick Mahomes, but I guess there has to be some kind of gray area.
Yep. In between.
He's our quarterback whisperer. Okay, there you go.
I love QBs, man.
Look at Guillermo has said like he needs to finish this. Well, the Cowboys play the Raiders. That's why.
Trust me. Look, he won't never. He's never gonna stop. So I would be you, Jerry. Just quit his comments. Just ignore him because they'll go throughout the whole show. So,
but it's funny because right, the Raider fans and the Cowboy fans have a general. I don't know if it's a respect for each other, but I would say it's a love-hate relationship, right? So without further ado, let's move it on. Clayton, let's talk about your Broncos, man. Finished 5-11 in 2020. 23rd overall in total offense, 21st in total defense. Your boy John Elway said he's not gonna have the final say so anymore. Man, you guys got stung early and you guys got stung fast and furious, right? With the injury bug. I think you guys lost Cortland Sutton right away, and then Von Miller. Aside from adding all that firepower on offense, you had Albert O, the tight end from Mizzou, KJ Hamler, the speedster out of Penn State. You also had Jerry Jeudy, the prize wide receiver in last year's draft class. Aside from that, I mean, you still saw the struggles. But tell us, why is it a love-hate relationship between Bronco fans and Drew Lock? Why?
Well, for me, it's a matter of him focusing on the finer details. This is a nuanced position, right? So this is a position where your footwork matters. So going up through Pee Wee in high school and college, you get these big, strong arm guys. They're drop back, but you get to the league, and it's not the same drop for every receiver. For every step, maybe I'm going to drag my third step and stagger it for the comeback to open up a little bit more. It may be on this play in particular, I'm going to hitch up, or I may have to pull hitch into the throw just to give everything to make sure it's synced up in a perfect world. And Drew Lock really hasn't shown that he is willing to do that. Instead, you're seeing the same guy got drafted, and instead he wants to point to the big screen, the Jumbotron in the middle of games, and talk about Kirk Cousins dancing. And he wants to sit on the sideline and smile while we're getting our ass whipped. And that's not fun. That's not who I want leading my team. I want somebody who they want to talk about not his dance moves, talk about how hard he studies the playbook, not how hard he studies TikTok dances like Juju.
Well, look, I mean, look, we've all seen it, man. I mean, the guy has swagger. He does not. What is it? There's no end game to a swagger, and I think that every quarterback needs to have a certain swagger. And I think Walt and we actually went back and forth with this back and forth. I mean, why hasn't he improved? Obviously, he's relying too much on that strong arm of his to do that. And like you said, being a quarterback, the footwork is important. I mean, over the years, some of the biggest knocks on Dak was, he's not your average quarterback. He's going to run it and this and that. But I mean, what have we seen? We've seen people mock Dak because he's out there practicing, his hip throwing motion, and these are the things that we don't see in Drew Lock. So I mean, look at it. Let's look at the Broncos pickups. I mean, look, you guys brought back Von Miller. You re-signed Shelby Harris. Justin Simmons finally got a 4-year deal. You guys got rid of Kareem Jackson, right? You guys let go of Philip Lindsay. You signed Ronald Darby and Kyle Fuller. So you guys added some. You guys were able to add some key pieces to into the draft without a glaring need. You guys are picking ninth. Are we going? Are we going quarterback? Clayton, take it away. Where are the Broncos picking this?
I think it would
Or
just
who are
depend.
they taking?
It would just depend what quarterback falls to them. Is it Trey Lance? I don't think so, or I don't think that's a small because you look at the developmental quarterbacks that have fallen the Broncos' lap that they've gone after the last several seasons, and they haven't been developed them. So why would we now all of a sudden are we have clarity in Trey Lance being the guy as a developmental guy? If it's Justin Fields, I say absolutely you bring him in for competition, and he's probably going to beat out Drew Lock. In all honesty, if it's not, this is a team that's got a really complete roster outside of right tackle. Just because you can't trust Jawan James, this is a guy that's out on the team, personal decision that's his to make, but he still bowed out on his team last year. And right tackle is actually the position that gave the sack that hurt Drew's throwing shoulder against the Steelers. So that's a position of need as well. You know, we re-signed Kareem Jackson. We did cut him, but that was just to restructure a contract. So both safety spots were deep 4 to 5 at cornerback. You're looking at middle linebacker and right tackle, and quarterback are the only needs on this team that are, you know, jump off the page at you. So I would expect like a Micah Parsons pick. I really like him there. You know, Rashawn Slater, if he's there to play tackle for him, or if Justin Fields falls. I think those are the big 3 names to expect to watch for the Denver Broncos to take.
So let me ask you, you're not sold on Mac Jones. If Mac Jones somehow doesn't go to the 49ers and he's there, or does the Broncos jump on him? I mean, because right now, the way we talked to Matt Miyoko, I mean, it looks like Mac Jones is going to be a 49er from all indications. But if let's just say he's not a 49er and he's there for you guys, are the Broncos drafting him? It's a simple yes or no question.
If he's there, I'm not expecting him to be there, like you said, but yeah, I would. Just because he's got familiarity working with a high-powered offensive cast.
And Jerry Jeudy, right? So let's see. Let's hear from Walt real quick. Let's hear from Walt. Walt, Broncos, nutshell, 2020 season. What do you think they should do next week?
Stay healthy.
That goes for all the league, man.
Yeah, first and foremost, Denver. I do agree with Clayton. I think Denver has a very slept-on roster. Yeah, they got a lot of talent over there. They've done a good job of adding some guys this offseason. I think Mike Boone could potentially be a solid pickup for them at the running back position. Kyle Fuller, of course, was a big pickup. But also, like you guys said, it's the entire situation with the elephant in the room, which is the young quarterback. He's just not improving. He does really seem to be the same guy he was at Missouri. And some guys are just throwers. And that works out for some guys. Some guys just have natural God-given ability to just throw a baseball, throw a football, throw anything they can pick up and throw it perfectly, throw it strongly. But does Drew really have the intangibles to be a quarterback that you can win with Sunday in, Sunday out? And until he can prove that he's that type of guy, he needs competition. And I agree 100%. I think Trey Lance, if Lance is there at that pick, Lance has to be the pick because they severely need to get competition for Drew Lock. There's no competition for him right now.
There isn't.
Maybe he really needs some competition to really light a fire up under him.
Yeah.
What do you think, Fidel? I mean, look, we're talking about the AFC West. It's an up and coming division. I mean,
yep.
I mean, you look at the Chiefs. They're going to be in the Super Bowl. It looks like almost every year. I don't know if they're going to win it every year at this point, but they're going to be there. Then you got the up and coming Chargers. You got your Raiders and the Broncos. I mean, from what you've seen, what's your biggest takeaway? 2020 is it Drew Lock?
It's Drew Lock, and then Vic Fangio is the head coach in the NFL. Personally, I thought he was going to be gone, but for whatever reason, they're going to keep him around for another year. Obviously, Von Miller didn't play because of injury. They did have some issues. Noah Fant is a star in the making. He just needs a quarterback to throw on the ball right, and obviously that's the number one problem with the Denver Broncos. If you ask me, it's the quarterback position, and that's something that's going to get. They're going to draft a quarterback in this draft, whether it's in the first round, second round, or third round. They're going to draft someone to be competition with Drew Lock. Now, to me, Drew Lock's not the answer, and the longer you let him play, the worse it's going to get. Vic Fangio is eventually going to get fired next year, and they just need to draft the quarterback.
Dang, well said. Look, I'll be one to say this right now. I like Drew Lock out of Mizzou. I thought he was actually a fun player out of watching him out of Mizzou. I knew. Well, I saw the season where you put up some very gaudy numbers. I think it was unheard of. They almost pushed 5,000 yards and like 40 some, almost close to 40 TDs in one season. It was just insane. And then to watch him just miss just some throws, I was like, dang, I don't know, that's not gonna pass in the NFL. And now to kind of see him like already like a couple, like he's what you consider a veteran already. To see him season, what is it, 3 seasons deep already? So you still seeing him making the same mistakes. I mean, it's hard, man. He's such a fun individual to see him play, but when you're talking about winning a championship, that's not going to win you a championship.
Well, Jerry, he's got better dance routines than he does quarterback skills right now.
Not only that, but he's a pretty good lip singer too.
That too. So maybe he should take his talents and do something else besides play football. Because right now doesn't look very good playing it.
Well, getting back to the situation, I think it would be a blessing if let's say Trey Lance is there. I think that Trey Lance is probably like the closest thing to a Dak Prescott, but at a little bit better of a passer. I'm just saying overall as a skill set, he's not going to turn the ball over. If it's not there, he's not going to force it. He has the arm to make every NFL throw, and he can use his feet. I think that Trey Lance it would be a present from heaven. I think for all Broncos. So
wait a minute now. We don't even know if he can play. He only played 13 games.
If you compare him to Drew Lock,
but still, Gypsy. But that's the thing, man. Sometimes we get so caught up in projecting players, man. Trey Lance is a huge, huge wild card.
He is, but I think that he's actually a very safe individual to bring in. He's not going to turn the ball over.
At number 9 in the draft, though.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, Walter, they're even talking about the Niners picking Trey Lance with the 3rd overall pick because apparently John Lynch is in love with them. But we know who runs the shots in San Francisco, and that's Kyle Shanahan. So
that's also the quarterback position being pushed up. Do we honestly believe that Trey Lance is the 3rd best player in this entire draft?
And here's where we got to.
Do we even believe Mac Jones is the 3rd best player in this draft?
And then, I would have to say, I'm going to give Zach Wilson that one. I'm still not budging on Justin Fields being the second best right behind Trevor Lawrence.
And gentlemen, we're 1 week out from the draft, so this week is going to be very heavy of fake news.
It is.
So we have to try to do our best to kind of move everything around and see what actually makes sense, right? But apparently, John Lynch is in love with Trey Lance. For whatever that is.
I'm just saying, when you're the Broncos, you have to take it into consideration, even at pick 9. Yes, Trey Lance at pick 9.
Well, that raises another question. What if Kyle Pitts is there at 9?
Ooh.
But you have Noah Fant.
And you have Albert O that you picked up.
Yeah,
that's not it.
I'm just saying, if you're the Broncos, you have to take Trey Lance into consideration. If Penny Sewell's there, you also got to take that into consideration. I mean, you can never have too much offensive line depth. But man, can you imagine a pick like Clayton said earlier, right? He mentioned Micah Parsons. Dang, that pairing would be scary on defense. And it is a need that they do need. But you got to take quarterback into equation, though, even if it is Trey Lance at 9.
Well, look, for the Raiders' sake, I hope they keep Drew Lock and they pick someone else. But they need to draft a quarterback, either if it's in the 1st round, 2nd round, or 3rd round, right? They just need to fix that. So,
Clayton, overall, what do you think, man? if you guys can fill in some of these key positions, what's the ceiling for the 2021 season for the Broncos?
I think if they make the playoffs, and honestly,
Okay.
just because you look at how Vic Fangio has managed to slow down the Chiefs in spurts, but the floor with Drew Lock is a top 7 pick in next year's draft. So it's a wide range that you're looking at for this season, and it all rides on Drew Lock's shoulder.
Ugh. Let me hear. What you got? What's the ceiling if they're able to get some key starters at positions here?
I still think they're probably around a 7 to 8 win team, probably.
Oh dang.
Given the fact that even if, let's say for instance, they do go Mac Jones or Trey Lance at number 9, you're still starting a rookie. So I don't understand how much better you expect everything to look if you just shove a rookie in there and you just run an offense around him where you basically insulate him and protect him from his own self.
Well said.
So I think in general, even if there's a chance, I know you guys don't believe, there's a chance Drew can improve.
I would say
there's a chance Drew can improve, man.
I think everybody can always improve. I mean, that goes for everybody in life in general.
I think it
right?
comes down to whether or not he wants to.
That's the big question.
Is he going to take the game seriously? Instead of him dancing around and doing all these other things, we don't need him to do that. He's not winning games.
He's got a little Dwayne Haskins in him, maybe.
Yeah, it needs to tone it down a little bit, man, honestly. So, Jerry, kind of going back, look, the Broncos, they're in an interesting situation. So they brought in the new GM from Minnesota. Vic Fangio's still the head coach. Vic Fangio needs to win to keep his job. The GM doesn't care. He wants to draft his own guy. So, I mean, is he in love with Drew Lock? Like, I wonder what his thoughts are, and they're probably kind of similar to ours. He needs to improve, right? But again, Nick Fangio needs to win next season in order to keep his job. GM probably doesn't care, but that's the deal, right? So, I mean, we know the GM is probably going to get the final say on who they draft. I think it's going to be quarterback. Whom? I don't know.
Damn.
Well, Clayton, let me ask you this. Do you think there's a veteran out there that could come in and run that offense and win in Denver?
No. I mean, not with high upside like Drew Lock. I mean, the traits are there that make you fall in love with Drew Lock, right?
Yeah.
He makes some unbelievable eye-popping throws. Like I said, you get these strong-armed guys that don't work out because they've never had position pre-snap reads because they've got the big arm that they could process information late and make it for it in a tighter window. They force the ball, and they've never had to create their own throwing lanes by making micro movements. They've been big and athletic and can bounce off people, and that's why you see guys like Drew Lock fail more often than not. Is never had to put as much into it as they do. It hits them like a wall right as they come into the league.
It's unfortunate, man, because I'm gonna and just before we end it off, just to kind of add to what Clayton said, I mean for forever and ever we saw the Broncos kind of carry this team into the playoffs, right? And it's unfortunate because if other teams don't learn from, like, let's say like the Broncos in this situation, their window's gonna close on them, and now you're gonna have to start from scratch. I mean, look at the Bears; they're kind of like in the same situation. Their defense is leading them in, but the they don't have the answer at quarterback. So if anything, I think Clayton, you said it earlier. You said it first. I think you said it best. You said they're gonna set the tone for the whole division. I think in a nutshell, I think the Broncos are going to set the tone for the next couple of years. You know, do you continue to build that core? Do you address immediate needs, or do you continue to address that core, or do you restart now and you know, do you restart now, get your quarterback and start building towards the future? So all great questions, and I think in a week from now we're going to start seeing what everybody's gonna. I mean, all our answers are going to be answered come next Thursday, I think.
And then Jerry, if I can add something real quick. So I mean, what's the best friend to a quarterback? A great running game. I think they're going to miss Philip Lindsay. He's a Houston Texan now. I know they do have a Ingram or no, sorry, Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon.
Correct. The former Chargers running back there. He played last year. He had an okay year.
He did.
But if they get a running game established, that's going to help out Drew Lock too.
And how do you get a running game established? Offensive line. So
Exactly.
I think we should definitely keep those names in consideration for the Broncos. Michael Parsons for defense, Penei Sewell if he's there, or even Rashawn Slater. You got to go offensive line, or you got to go Michael Parsons. So, gentlemen, that does it for us today. Who knows? Maybe we'll do another one tomorrow. I know that on the weekend we're gonna be busy with finishing off this team because next week it's all draft, and I want to hear everybody's mock drafts coming up, leading up into the actual draft itself on Thursday. So thank you all for tuning in. Until maybe tomorrow.